Hello and welcome to another episode of the iPad Lettering Show. My name is Karen, I'm from iPad Lettering, bringing you the best tips and tricks about anything iPad related. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to create a color palette in Procreate, and then also how to create a beautiful gradient rainbow lettering piece. Coming up right now. As you know, I love bright colors in every shade of the rainbow, so in today's tutorial I'm going to show you 3 different ways of creating a beautiful rainbow effect for your lettering piece. Let's start by creating a rainbow color palette, and the easiest way to do that is to actually just have a look on Google for some rainbow colors. So if I type in rainbow palette, let's see what comes up. So we're going to go to images, and you can see here there's a wide range of rainbow color palettes right there, and then there's one here, and I think I quite like this one. So what we're going to do now is take a screenshot of this, make a screenshot, and then I'm going to resize it and save this to my photos. Adjust this. Okay, done. Save to photos. So now we have a copy of this palette that we can use to create a color palette in Procreate. Alright, so now let's start Procreate, and let's start with a new canvas. And for this lettering piece, I'm going to use one of the watercolor canvases, and this is a canvas that comes with the real brushes set, and it looks like this. So we open the layers palette, so it's just got some textures and a watercolor background like that, and then it also has the guidelines, and if you can't see them you can just turn them on and off like that. But to start with, let's turn off the textures layer, because we don't want that to get in the way when we create our color palette. And then we are going to go to photos and insert the color palette, and there it is. So really all you have to do is just bring in the photo that you have saved before, and now we're going to create the palette from this. Tap on the color thumbnail and then plus here to create a new palette. So we're going to give this a name, and we're going to call it rainbow, like that. And now we are ready to populate our palette. So an easy way to do that is just to select all the colors that you can see here and then add them one by one to this palette. So I'm going to switch to the disk view just to make it a little bit easier, and then all you have to do is hold down your finger to select the color, and you can see here the color here is now selected, and then tap on an empty swatch here on your palette like that to put it in the palette. So now we're going to repeat this with all the other colors. Hold down your finger to select the color, and then tap an empty swatch to lock it in. So we're going to carry on and do that for all the colors, and you can see this is reasonably fast. So I've chosen the wrong one now, so let's do this one and keep it in the right order. Okay, and one more. Alright, so now that we've done that, we don't need this layer anymore, so we can just turn it off. You can either delete it or just turn it off. I'm going to turn it off. You never know, I might need it again. And then, very important, create some new layers to create your lettering piece, which is what we're going to do next. So now it doesn't really matter which color you select. I'm going to go with black. So let's just add black to this palette as well. So if you just drag down your Apple Pencil to the bottom here, this is now automatically going to select black, and then we can add it to the palette there. And just because we might need it, let's do white as well. So we're going to go there, and now we have white in the palette as well. So I'm going to go black, and then for this lettering piece I want to use one of my metallics brushes, and let's choose the IPL Paisley brush. This is quite a nice brush for this type of lettering piece. So let's see what this looks like. And because I've already got my guidelines turned on, it makes it nice and easy to create my lettering piece now. So let's write rainbow. Oh, this is a bit thick, just a little bit thinner. And the reason why I'm choosing this brush is because it's got a really nice contrast between the thick downstrokes and the thick upstrokes, and so it lends itself really nicely to be filled with our rainbow colors. So now I'm just going to write rainbow. Alright, and let's just put this in the middle like that. And now it's time to fill this. So the first way to do that is to alpha lock this layer now. So let's do that. 2-finger swipe to the right, and now you can see this layer has been alpha locked, and you notice that this has happened because now we've got the checkered background on the thumbnail. So that means that only the pixels that have color already will get filled when we paint over this. Alright, so now let's just start by using all the colors from the rainbow. And for this, I think it's a good idea to use one of the soft airbrushes. And then we just color in our lettering with different colors. As you can see, this is not very difficult, but it's also not that precise. So it's kind of, you know, a little bit difficult to make sure you precisely start where you want. But even so, it's quite a nice effect. So I don't mind this. I think this looks quite pretty. Now let me show you a different way. So let's duplicate this layer and then turn this one off. And now let's fill that layer with black. So I'm going to go black, fill layer. Alright, and so what we're going to do now is we're going to color block the different colors of the rainbow onto this page. So now let's choose a different brush, and for this one I just like using a hard brush, and it doesn't really matter which brush you use. You could even use your lettering brush as well, it doesn't really matter, just to fill in the background. So I'm going to make it quite large, and now I'm just going to paint the different colors onto the page. Alright, so now it looks okay, it's a bit stripy, but now let's see what happens when we use one of the adjustments, and let's use Gaussian blur, and now you can blend the colors together really nicely. So now what you can do is just blur them, and you can see now how this creates this beautiful rainbow effect. And depending on how much blend you want, you can drag the slider further to the right or less. And I usually like it when it's not too much blended, because then the colors stay a lot more vibrant as well. And now let's fill in our letters, and there's a really easy trick how to do that. So all you have to do is tap on the N, which brings up the panel for the blend modes. And now you see that there is different groups of blend modes. So now if we select the lighten group of blend modes and then tap on screen, you can see how, ta-da, our letters have been filled automatically. Isn't that cool? So now what you can do as well, you can adjust how the colors get displayed on your letters by adjusting the size of this layer. So you just tap the selection tool, and now you can move the layer around, so you can bring in some of the blue and then maybe some of the purple color as well. So you can just sort of readjust this to bring in some of the other colors as well. And so this gives you a much nicer effect to the lettering piece that we had before. And now, just because it's fun, I want to show you a third way of how you can fill your letters with color. So now let's turn this layer off here, and let's create some new layers. And I also want to turn on my textures again, just to show you what this looks like. And now for this part, we're going to use some of the brushes that are part of the canvas brush set, and in particular that canvas wash 2. That creates a really nice texture, and you'll see how this is just a little bit different from what we've done before. So choose the canvas wash 2 brush, and now let's go through our rainbow again and just paint in different colors on the canvas. And you can see now how this blends quite differently to the way we've done it before, and it's a bit of a more organic look, but it's really nice as well. So now it's just going to fill the page, and then purple. And so now another trick that I want to show you is you can actually use the smudging tool with this brush as well for an even nicer effect. So all you have to do is hold down the smudge tool, and now it selects the same brush that we've used before for painting for the smudge tool. And so now if you just tap on the page, you can see how the color gets blended in really nicely on the page. So this is a lot of fun, and this creates sort of a really nice and organic look. And now because we can see the letters underneath, let's adjust the background to make it fit with the letters. So I'm just going to make this a bit smaller, and then I'll bring down the background so that it matches. No, maybe not like this. Just so that all the colors get used for our background. And let's use the warp tool for this. Let's see what happens when we do that. So I think this will be quite a nice effect. Alright, so now instead of using the blend mode, what we're going to do now is we're going to bring down this layer to be just above the rainbow layer. And now we're going to use clipping mask, and let's see what happens. So now tap on your thumbnail and then tap clipping mask, and then boom, and now we've got our lettering layer filled with the background, just like that. So this is super nice. So now one of the things I don't like so much is that there's too much of the black coming through. So now let's duplicate this layer, and you can see now how it becomes a lot brighter, and you can also see now how the clipping mask has been duplicated. And let's see what happens if we do this one more time. So now this hasn't changed too much, but I think this is now really nice and bright, and looks very beautiful. Alright, there you have it, rainbow lettering in 3 different ways. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe to my channel to be notified when my next tutorial will be available. I also have a couple of in-depth courses available where you can learn how to use your iPad to design anything from party invitations, bullet journal pages, all the way to whole wedding suites. Check the links in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.